South Korea, a nation that emerged from the ruins of the Korean War, now stands as a symbol of remarkable progress. But beneath the surface, behind the skyscrapers and bustling streets, lies a dark secret. A tale of sacrifices, social pressures, and relentless competition that contributed to the shocking transformation. The very factors that fueled the economic miracle are now causing problems to Korean society, with the highest suicide rates globally, a challenging job landscape for young people, and a surprisingly low happiness index.
Many Koreans continue to shun antidepressants due to the social stigma that continues to surround them.
There's a growing focus on the role of social media in South Korea's high suicide rate.
So, what's the secret behind the Korean economic miracle, and why are Koreans now grappling with the consequences of their own success? This is the dark side of South Korea that you didn't know about. In the mid-1950s, South Korea was in a tough spot. It had suffered under Japanese occupation, which limited education and job opportunities. After World War II, the country split into the US-supported South and the Soviet-backed North. A few years later, the North attacked the South, leading to a war that wiped out much of the South's industry and infrastructure. By the war's end in 1953, South Korea faced low literacy rates, a mainly agricultural economy, and an uncertain future. But here's where the Korean miracle begins. Three key factors were responsible for South Korea's remarkable economic growth. First, in the early 1960s, the South Korean government decided to shift from an agrarian society to an industrial economy. Instead of helping small businesses, they chose to support specific family-owned conglomerates known as chaebols. The government provided strong support to these chaebols, such as loans, subsidies, and tax breaks. They had different rules and received financial help from the government when they faced difficulties. In return, they were expected to boost economic growth and expand internationally. This strategy was incredibly successful. The chaebols turned into global powerhouses, producing cars, TVs, electronics, and more, transforming South Korea from a nation that had suffered from war into a thriving global economy. As these conglomerates grew into global giants, they had an insatiable appetite for workers. The products they crafted, like cars, TVs, electronics, and more, required complex supply chains, which meant they needed a workforce with skills in engineering, management, and accounting. Essentially, people with college educations. South Korea's manufacturing sector has produced a staggering 2.5 million vehicles so far in 2023, and the country's electronics industry is one of the world's largest, exporting over $233 billion worth of goods in 2022. This is where the South Korean government played a crucial role. They actively stoked enthusiasm for education among South Koreans. Since the end of the war, South Korea has witnessed an unprecedented surge in education. To illustrate the scale of this transformation, South Korea boasts a higher education enrollment rate of approximately 73.8%, one of the highest in the world. This surge wasn't just an individual pursuit, it was a national ethos, with parents and students alike prioritizing the pursuit of a university degree as the ultimate ticket to success in life. In just a few decades, South Korea undertook an extraordinary transformation from a nation where only 22% of the population could read and write in 1945 to becoming the most educated country globally. Now, over 2/3 of young people in South Korea hold a university degree. That's a wild statistic, isn't it? However, it wasn't just about having a well-educated nation. The success story also depended on the exceptional work ethic that South Koreans are renowned for today. They're known to work longer and harder than almost anyone else in the world, and you can definitely see all that playing out in all those K-dramas you watch. The work hours are simply shocking for a Western audience, but this wasn't always the case in South Korea. The culture of intense hard work was mostly developed during the economic boom, spearheaded by the chaebols. These huge conglomerates systematically encouraged their employees to be completely loyal to the company. It wasn't just a job, it became an absolute commitment to the company's success, where the company came before family, personal life, and even free time. Work wasn't just a part of life, it was life. This dedication to work extended beyond office hours. It became common to put in incredibly long workdays, to work evenings and weekends, and even to socialize with coworkers after work. To this day, post-work drinking sessions with your boss are a staple of South Korean corporate culture, and they're not optional. You can't head home until your boss decides it's time. The result? South Koreans currently have the distinction of working the longest hours compared to other developed nations across the world. However, working conditions have improved as of 2023, with the Labor Standards Act being imposed for strictly. This relentless dedication was one of the driving forces behind the economic miracle. So, where's the dark side in all of this? It's the flip side of this relentless pursuit of success, a story of sacrifices and societal pressures. South Korea's extreme work culture has contributed to some significant challenges, including the highest suicide rate in the world, widespread stress, and an increasing number of young people struggling to secure stable employment. While this formula initially fueled South Korea's miraculous rise, it's now showing its darker side, and the three pillars of success are becoming more toxic, impacting not only the economy, but society as a whole. Here's what went wrong. It's a bit of a paradox concerning South Korea's chaebols. Collectively, they contribute a massive 85% of the country's GDP, and Samsung alone, a colossal player, makes up nearly 20% of South Korea's entire economy. But here's the twist. These chaebols employ just around 10% of South Korea's workforce. That's a tiny, tiny chunk. The reason behind the skewed employment ratio is that these conglomerates got really good at expanding without hiring new people. It was a cost-saving strategy. Shockingly, although South Korea once faced a job shortage with not enough qualified individuals, today the situation has flipped. Another important thing to know is that Korean universities are producing hundreds of thousands of college graduates every year. But what's weird is that it is now incredibly tough for these graduates to find jobs once they toss their graduation caps. Strangely, in South Korea, college graduates face higher unemployment rates than those without degrees. This doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. The situation has become so dire that the government had to launch programs to help college-educated South Koreans find jobs overseas, preventing them from falling into unemployment or poverty back home. Furthermore, in a society deeply invested in success and education, manual labor jobs are often shunned by college graduates, leading to a scarcity of blue-collar workers and an oversupply of unemployed college grads unable to apply their education. This is particularly frustrating in a society that places such high value on success and education. So, why the desire for high-status jobs? It comes down to the tremendous effort required to obtain an education. South Korea's education system has become one of the most competitive in the world. It is incredibly tough to get into a prestigious university. To give you an idea of how intense it is, a remarkable 83% of 5-year-olds in South Korea attend after-school private classes. On average, families spend 16% of their income on private education. The government has even implemented a ban on private tutoring sessions after 10 p.m. to ease this constant workload. Nonetheless, South Korea has grappled with plenty of education inflation. Despite working harder than ever to attain formal education, the advantages of such education seem to be shrinking. Even with top-tier degrees, many struggle to find work. Those who do secure jobs often find themselves in a rigidly hierarchical work environment where promotions depend more on loyalty than performance. Now, here's an eye-opener. South Koreans clock longer hours at work than anyone else, yet their productivity remains surprisingly low. It's a culture that places a high premium on hard work over working smart, and this approach no longer syncs with the needs of the 21st century. Due to the effects of this intense work culture, along with societal pressures and a challenging economic landscape, is that South Koreans rank among the unhappiest nations globally. The country also holds the unfortunate title of having the highest suicide rate per capita in the world for 2 decades. Shocking, right? In fact, this problem is so serious that even the government acknowledges it and has initiated attempts to bring about change, though the results have been limited thus far. Here's the crux of the matter. The system is no longer effective for a significant portion of the population. However, since chaebols have significant political power and the current system benefits them, it seems highly unlikely that meaningful reform will take place. While the South Korean economic boom has been undeniably impressive, the country now faces challenges posed by corporations that are too big to fail and too powerful to change. We can only hope for a brighter future.